Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I'm talking about components of learning styles today, part two. And the first one we have is learning senses. So it's the senses we use when we're learning. We use all of the senses while learning. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, like, how do we learn through taste and smell and things like that? And it's obvious on how we learn through seeing and hearing and touching. But it says that we use multiple senses simultaneously and occasionally through just a single sense. So some questions I was thinking of when reading this part was, what senses do we commonly use during school? And obviously there's, your visual learners, your auditory learners, and your hands-on learners, and so seeing, hearing, touching. And I looked up on how do taste and smell help us learn, and it's not just in an education setting, but just in general, learning what kind of food you like, what kind of smells you like, and how your senses are just a part of your everyday life. Alright, so continuing on learning senses, the senses referred to most in education are visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile. Visual learners will read books, watch videos, look at pictures. I feel like it's a lot easier for me personally to look at a picture and be able to understand fully what the information is trying to say. Auditory learners are like listening, and it even can be like listening through a song. And there's a lot of ways that we learn through music that we don't realize, such as like the ABC song, how it goes to the tune of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And that's how we have always remembered our ABCs growing up. Kinesthetic would be like practicing, role playing, getting active, getting up and moving around, ways to learn. Tactile would be writing, building, or constructing, lots of hands-on activities. I love to do projects, and I feel like that is a good way for me to learn, so that's a tactile way that I learn. Since I'm not in class today, I can't do the quiz with you, but this is a link to what kind of learner are you, and I think you should take it. It's really cool, and it'll show you which learning you most commonly use. So next we're talking about cognitive learning styles. I'm sure in the past or sometime in your schooling you've heard about left and right side brain learners, and that's what we're about to talk about in cognitive learning styles. So the first one would be learners that learn information in new and different ways. They like step-by-step process, detailed information working towards the end. So they can see the end and they know what's expected of them, and they just work towards it step by step, and it's very organized and it's structured. Other terms to describe this kind of cognitive style is analytic, sequential, left-brained, and concrete. I always thought that I was a right-brained person, and I still think I am, but I read this picture and it says, do you usually do things in a planned and orderly way? And I've found that I'm a lot more left-brained than I think I am, because I like structure and I like to learn step by step and making sure I have everything planned out, orderly, and ready. And not just in learning, but just in everything that I do in like a daily life. So just think of these different kind of characteristics and whether you are left-brained or not. So next we're talking about the other cognitive learning style, which you guessed it, is the right side of the brain. And it is almost completely opposite of the left side of the brain. So they think of the whole picture, they grasp overall goals and idea to know where they're headed before they start learning. So they like to know what's to come before they start. Other terms to describe this cognitive learning style is global, relational, right-brained, and holistic. This chart kind of gives you an idea of like right brain versus left brain. Right brain has creativity, intuition, feelings, imagination, daydreaming, arts. And then left brain is more like analysis, logic, facts, sequencing, mathematics, and language. So they always say that the right side of the brain is really creative and artsy and fun, and then the left side of the brain's more like serious and stern and logical, which isn't always true, but everyone is a little bit of both, I feel like, and I feel like they usually lean towards one or the other, but there's a part in us that probably has both. So there is a ton of quizzes online to figure out how left-brained and right-brained you are. So I think it'd be really cool if you went and checked that out. But there's another activity to come to see, maybe to give you an idea of which one you may be. So okay, so I found this picture online, and it's just a little activity to see whether you are left or right brain dominant. I don't think it's completely accurate, but I'd like everyone to try. So just cross your hands like this, like you're praying, and it says if your left thumb is under the right thumb, then you are left brain dominant, and if your right thumb is under your left thumb, then you're right brain dominant. So my left thumb is under my right thumb, so it says I am left brain dominant, which I think I'm more right brain dominant, but I don't know. So I'd like everyone to try and see what you get and see if you agree or if you think that your test is accurate. But that about wraps up my presentation. So thanks guys, bye.